I was fortunate enough to start testosterone around that time, so I was kind of going through like a second puberty. So it was very like strange. Like I'm like coming into myself.
Yeah.
At that time, growing up, and when you're like categorized like girls and boys like for like PE class or like
Right.
like stuff like that, or like I don't know. It just always felt like I don't know. I just never felt right, But I didn't know like the language for that, honestly. She was like, "Why don't you just admit that you're a boy?" And I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Because like that sentence just like rung in my head because I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And I couldn't stop thinking of it for the rest of that night. I was like, "What did she mean by that?" And I was kind of like in and out of like therapy for a while, in that time before I knew I was trans, and it helped me like kind of get over my social anxiety and stuff like that. But yeah, they definitely knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I was not a very like expressive person at the time because I was just so uncomfortable. I just didn't know what was wrong. I didn't feel at home in my body, but I didn't know why.
That was very significant to me because I'm like, dude, they feel safe around me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
There's
That's
nothing wrong with you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like for him to like think that like, oh, like, David's gay, that means like he must want to sleep with me. It's like crazy because like no, it's not how it is. It was the missing link for me. It was like realizing all this stuff about myself. Like I was just happier in general. I smile more. Like I was just more myself. Just love yourself in every stage that you are as you move forward in your transition, and take time to figure out who you are, and stay, be true to yourself. You don't have to do or be one way.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Tonight, sitting across from me is a face that you will recognize, or a voice you might recognize if you tuned into one of our episodes last summer. I got Dakota Noriega back on the show. Dakota is a 22-year-old professional barber and proud trans man coming from the vibrant city of Austin, Texas. Dakota discovered his passion for barbering early on and pursued his dreams with determination and passion. He graduated high school in 2020, and he honed his craft through dedicated study to become a sought-after barber in the Austin community. Beyond his talent with scissors and clippers, he is an advocate for inclusion and diversity in the hair industry, striving to create welcoming spaces for all individuals to express themselves authentically. When he's not behind the chair, Dakota enjoys exploring the nature and diverse food scene of Austin, staying active outdoors, and spending time with his friends and family. With a bright future ahead and a passion for his craft, Dakota continues to inspire others through his creativity, authenticity, and unwavering spirit. Dakota, welcome to your episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
A nice intro.
It was very nice.
Thank you.
That is not the first intro either to be co-written by our friends at Chat GPT.
Yes. I have no comment on that. I really tried, but I was like, you know what? It might do it better than me. So
I've done a lot. The Chat GPT has helped me out a lot in the last few months with streamlining stuff and writing intros and whatnot. So we're all using it. I think I was probably the last person that jumped on the Chat GPT bandwagon. It took me forever for some reason. But
honestly, like there was like so many apps that you have to like prepay for. So I'm like, do I want to use this? But I wanted to like mess around with it. So it works out.
Yeah.
It works out from time to time.
Have you used any other ones?
Not really. I've been wanting to try the ones where you can like make images and stuff like that, but I literally don't know where to find it. I mean, maybe I'm not looking too hard anyway, but I think it'd be cool.
I met a guy. Where was it? I think it's at the event I was telling you about before we hit record. The South by Southwest event, but he is whatever the app is. It's not ChatGPT, but whatever it is, he's like their biggest user. He's just created thousands upon thousands upon thousands of images, and I'm like, well, are you? Why? And he says, just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you can create, if something like you can put any word and it creates like the coolest image. I mean, I don't know. I would definitely want to play with that as much as he has, but I don't know where to find it. So
I bet if you Googled it, we could probably figure it out pretty quick.
Probably. I would like to, but
yeah,
we'll see. Come up with some cool shit.
Yeah. How've you been?
Pretty good. Staying busy. Just got off from vacation. Like I was telling you, I came back from Florida. Went to go to Disney to celebrate my cousin. So that was pretty fun.
Nice.
And I haven't been to Disney in a while, but it was like the most streamlined Disney vacation I think I've ever had. So that was pretty sick.
Organized? Or?
Yeah, it was super organized. My aunt is just like super adamant about like planning and like just I don't know. It was just insane. Like everything was like super smooth and like that's typically not how my experience at like theme parks go. So it was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. I got to try the Tron ride. That was like super sick.
I haven't tried that one, if it even exists in Disney World. Did it replace something, or is it new?
I think it's just new altogether, but I had been waiting for Disney to do something else with Tron for so long because it was one of my favorite movies. So I don't know. It was definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Excuse me.
Hell
Me.
yeah.
Was it a fast one?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was just super cool. I was like, I feel like my inner child is just like in its happy place. So it was really cool.
What was the best thing you ate there?
Ooh, trying to think. What did I even eat? Oh, I had a good Cuban sandwich. That was pretty good.
What's in a Cuban sandwich?
I think it's like ham, what isn't a Cuban sandwich? Now that I think about it. Definitely ham, provolone, pickles, some other kind of meat probably.
Hey Siri,
I forget.
what is in a Cuban sandwich? Let's see if she knows. She gave me Cuban bread.
The way I couldn't remember, it's like, bro, I literally just ate it. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Is a variation of ham and cheese. Oh, come on. Ham and cheese sandwich.
Nothing crazy, you know.
Roasted pork, Swiss cheese, pickled mustard, salami, and on Cuban bread.
Yes, I forgot about the other.
It sounds
good. It was super good. I was like, I haven't had a good Cuban sandwich in a minute, but I was in Florida. You know, you have to.
Yeah.
So it was worth it.
I've been on a sandwich kick lately. Whether it's
Really?
like going to Jersey Mike's or what's the other one I really like? Schlockskis.
Yeah.
That's probably not.
I mean,
But
close enough. Close enough.
Yeah. Or just making them at home. So whenever I go to
Literally.
HEB, I just pick up like what vegetables would I want on my sandwiches this week? What meats would I want on my bread this week? Yeah, dude, sandwiches. I'm like Joey
them.
from Friends. I don't know if you get that reference, but
I need to watch Friends so bad. It's a problem. People reference it all the time, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
but you're young.
I know. That's why I should watch it. I mean, but I don't know. I think things with like multiple seasons, I'm like, I'm a little scared to invest all the time. I don't know.
It's a
Not
long
scared,
show.
It's just long, and I'm like, do I have the attention span? Like, I'm gonna try, but
Well, you also don't have to like sit down and watch it. Like if there is ever a day where you knew like you were going to spend 4 hours deep cleaning your apartment, that would be like a good day to put it on because it's very lighthearted, very easy to follow. There is no plot line. You know, it's
that's cool. I mean, I guess
so-
you can just start off anywhere, so that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But that's what's up. Oh, I forgot to say, if you like sandwiches, have you tried Ike's by the Arboretum?
I don't think so.
It's so good. It's so good.
I'm going
I don't
to
know.
Ike's
I don't
this
know.
week.
I don't know exactly which one I get, but I'm gonna have to send it to you. But it is phenomenal. So
Yeah.
just putting that out there. Jersey Mike's is good though too.
Jersey Mike's is good. Yeah.
So
So tell me this, or tell the audience this. Why should they stick around for today's episode? Or another way of thinking of it is, what do you think they're going to get out of today's episode?
I think definitely a different perspective. Or I don't know, just like I definitely want to talk about like my experience as like a trans man, like growing up in Texas. And I think that like that's not really a perspective that's talked about too often, or like in your day to day, like you probably don't know that you're talking to like a trans person. Not that it like, I don't know, just a different perspective overall. I think.
Yeah.
Or just like from someone my age and like my point of view growing up here. So I think it'd be pretty cool.
I think it'll be cool too.
Yeah.
You grew up here in Austin.
Mhm.
Have you ever left? Did you ever go live somewhere for like 3 months or a year or anything
Yeah,
like that?
I
Yeah,
have.
where?
I have. Yeah. So I grew up in. I like was raised in the Round Rock area. I just say Greater Austin because people just know Austin better. But
Right.
whenever I was in like 6th grade, I ended up moving to Maryland for like 9 months or something. Because my dad took a job opportunity up there, and like we honestly all hated it. Like it was not, it was not it. Like I moved like in the middle of like obviously I'm about to like enter middle school, and then I like moved to this whole other state. I didn't know anyone, so that was pretty rough. But yeah, that's really the only place I've ever lived like besides like Austin. So
Why didn't you guys like it?
oh my god, it was terrible, dude. We lived in like on a military base that was like kind of like a swamp, but like. I don't know. It's just a really weird like biome. Like the military base was just like generally like really ugly and like I don't know. It was just like very different from what we were used to, which is like okay sometimes, but like just that military base was just like trash, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aberdeen Proving Ground. Would not recommend. But,
Was your dad in the military, I'm assuming?
he was, but at the time that we moved, he was just working like some sort of like contractor job, related to the military. So he wasn't like directly in it, but was working with them. So yeah, it was supposed to be like he was like trying it out, see if it was gonna be a good fit, but like or I don't know, just like a better opportunity, I guess. But it was not. It was not it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I would do there, it was like something similar to like K1 Speed, where it's like you're racing on go karts. I would literally do that, like play on my computer. Like I would play Minecraft for like hours, and then I would play like racquetball at like the gym or like basketball, and that was it.
Racquetball.
No life, yeah. And I didn't even know how to play racquetball. I'm just like smacking the ball against the wall, and like that's all I know how to do. Like nothing crazy. I don't keep score or nothing, but it was cool.
I used to work at a gym with a racquetball court, and sometimes if it was just really slow, we would go in there and do the same thing. It's
Yeah,
just like a way to
it's
pass
just
time.
fun. Yeah, it's just fun. Like I haven't done that in a while, but I would honestly like to. But I don't know. I definitely like the racing more though.
Yeah.
I was a beast, bro.
Was it outside or on a track? Or
It was an inside track.
inside track. Okay.
Yeah, similar to K1, but I don't know what the equivalent over there was, but it was pretty fun.
We had something like that near us growing up, and I never went on it. I don't know why.
I don't know.
It would have been so much fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Go-kart racing.
Yeah, it's so
like
fun.
Mario Kart live.
No, for real. I don't know what it was, but I was drifting all that kind of all that kind of stuff, man. I loved it, but I don't do it enough now. It's just kind of like expensive, but it's
Yeah.
cool. I would still fuck it up regardless. I can cuss, right?
Yeah, usually, well, we're at the 10-minute mark, so we're good. But we're fine.
Okay.
Curse away.
Okay. I mean, I don't mean to, but like, I don't know.
We curse a
try.
lot on this show. Mm-hmm. The only thing I usually say that I didn't preempt you for is we try to get to the 10-minute marker, and then after that, it's fair game.
Oh, okay.
And we'll be at that marker in 5 seconds.
Okay,
so,
cool. I don't want to like say too much. I think
Fuck.
Yeah, no, literally, exactly.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't think it's anything that anyone's gonna be shocked by. We don't got a lot of like Christians listening to the show, and the few that do, that I know about them, and I'll shoot them a text and be like, "Hey, just so you know,
Yeah,
we like curse." We actually the last one I gave them a heads up about was because we started drinking, and the more we drink, the more cursing happened. So I was like, the first half of the episode is pretty clean, but as you continue on, like there's just all kind of bombs dropping all over the place.
I mean, fair game. After a certain amount of drinks, like why not? You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you have any siblings?
I do not. No, I
Only
grew up an only
child?
child. I grew up with 2 dogs, so those are like my siblings.
Are there like any only child stereotypes?
Oh yeah. I always hear all the time that like only children are like spoiled or like don't know how to share or like maybe stuck up. I don't know. I just hear that they're like, "Oh, you're so spoiled." I'm like, I don't think so. Like I don't really think I was like spoiled, but obviously my parents didn't have another kid to pay attention to, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It was cool. I honestly wish I think growing up I wish I had siblings, but now that I'm an adult, I'm like, it's whatever.
Let me put you on the hot seat for a second.
Okay.
So one of my friends who's an only child, as we've got older, I've noticed that his thing is that if you ask him for advice, he expects you to take it.
Oh.
And it's one of those things. It's like, well, I didn't say I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I just wanted your perspective.
For sure.
And there have been more than one occasion where he's almost thrown like an adult fit because I ended up doing something else. And he's like, but I told you X. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's my life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not just gonna take everyone's advice like at face value. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so you don't do that.
No.
You're self-aware enough to know that's not your.
Definitely not. No. I like to consider other people's perspectives, but I'm not gonna just like take it like off the bat. Like, oh yeah, let me just do that. Like, no, I always like think it through like extensively.
Can you do me a favor and swivel a little bit towards the camera?
Yeah.
You don't have to be facing it directly because we're looking at each other. But all right, that's good.
Yeah.
Did you? So your what did your mom and dad do?
Like with me?
No.
Like, how did they deal with me?
Like, for what did they spend the bulk of their time doing outside of raising you? Of course.
Oh,
like, was your mom a stay-at-home mom, or did she work?
Oh no, she worked. She was a pre-K teacher for, I mean, all my life basically. She was a school teacher, and then my dad worked at some like military contracting sort of job. But they were both like really busy individuals. But my mom especially, I mean, dealing with them kids, I don't know.
Well, they're like 5, right?
Yeah, like they're like literal like babies.
So she
like,
did that all day, like 9 months a year for just years on years on years.
Yes, like she has been put through the ringer by them kids. I could never. My heart goes out to her. I'm like, I don't know how you deal with that.
What a tenacious person.
Yeah, she's got a heart on her to be able to do something like that because them kids, she had some bad kids too. So I don't know. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
My first job was in a gym watching kids. I did it for 2 years, and then after 2 years, I was like,
I can't do this.
I went to turn in my notice, and they just ended up transferring me to the front desk, which worked out really well. But
That works out.
it was fun. It was really fun, especially like there's some days where you just get to hold the infants and you're literally getting paid to like sit in this rocking chair with a sleeping baby and you're like, all right, that's sort of cool. Then there's other days where you get to play with some of the older kids. So you're playing like basketball or soccer or whatever. Again, it's like cool. Getting, paid to just like play with these kids. But yeah, man, after 2 years, I was just like,
some kids are
I was
savage
so
too.
over
Like,
it.
I could not. I'm just like, y'all are mean. Some kids are just super mean.
there's this one kid who he'd try to throw a ball at my nuts once. Well, not try to, he did. And so I told his mom, or I told him not to do that. I was like, dude, you can't, like, I don't know if you know what you're doing, but like, don't do that again.
Yeah.
And then like 30 minutes later, he did it again. So I put him time out. And then when his mom came to pick him up and I told her, she was like, oh yeah, he does that to his dad too.
Oh,
I was like,
why?
And
I'm like, you're not gonna say it. You're not gonna discipline him.
is
Like,
there
what
an
going
and?
on?
Like, we're working on this?
Yeah,
like, or
exactly.
his dad's just taking these shots
nut
every
shots,
night.
bro,
Like,
that's insane.
what are you talking about?
That's terrible. I'm like, someone go put that kid in timeout. Like, no, that would never fly with me if I did that to my parent. But yeah, I don't know how she did it. To be honest with you.
What's one of your, how far back do you feel like you can remember? You have any memories from like first grade, preschool, growing
Oh
up?
my goodness. The first thing that comes to mind is like whenever I must have been pretty young, like definitely before preschool. I would ask my mom every day if it was my birthday because I didn't know. Like, I don't know why I didn't know. I don't know why I asked her that all the time. I was like, "Is it my birthday today?" And she'd be like, "No," and I would ask her that like all the time. And I don't know. It's like one of my earliest memories. But definitely, I mean, I have a bunch of memories like scattered throughout, like definitely like preschool and like all that kind of stuff. But I like went to school in Killeen like as a young kid, so probably like no. I went to daycare in Killeen before I moved to Austin, and like I have memories of like being being in this daycare with like little kids and like just it was like some daycare right out of this lady's house and she would like feed us and we would like watch like Nemo and like little like Disney movies and stuff, so it was cool.
Pretty sure that's where Flight grew up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
In Killeen. He was like, "No way, you're from the K." I'm like, I mean, I don't know about from, but I definitely spent some time there, so
Like,
I
I
do know a
daycared
little
there
bit.
for a few years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there. I was around for a little bit, but I don't know. My mom was like, "I don't want to raise you here," and I was like, I mean, I didn't say anything because I didn't have a choice, but
Yeah.
it was cool. I mean, for what I remember, but yeah, it was chill. I remember the Lions Park was like was a really big thing I liked to do when I was a kid over there. My mom was like, I used to just like swing you around and like I was like obsessed with the park. I mean, as any kid is, so nothing crazy.
And for those who might have not caught that reference, the one thing I should have changed about your intro, which is on me, not on you, is that you work at the Bearded Barber.
Oh yes.
With Flight and Jordan. So the episode that we referenced earlier went live on July 30th, I think, and all four of you came on together. But this guy is one of the 4 best barbers in Austin, Texas. So as you're listening to this episode, if you're looking for a new barber, go to beardedbarberatx.com, book your first appointment. They do book out in advance. So if you're trying to get like a same day or a next day, good luck.
Good luck.
Good timing.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm like, we are popular and we be getting you right. So
It's a
come
good
through,
shot.
come
Yeah,
through.
it's a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
So Colleen daycare. Oh, I was
Just
going to
normal
ask you,
baby
why were
things.
birthdays a big deal for you? Did your parents just do a really good job at celebrating them, so you're constantly looking forward to it, or?
Birthdays?
Yeah, because you said you were asking every day, so I'm. Like,
Oh, I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. I guess I was just like, when is my day? I don't know. I mean, we celebrated, but it wasn't nothing like super crazy or anything. But
yeah.
I don't know why. What was my fixation? I have no idea. But I have no clue.
Did religion play any part in your family?
Not a huge part, honestly. Like my parents didn't really like. We would go to church for like maybe like Christmas or like Easter or something or like those kind of holidays. But like it wasn't really like a super prevalent thing for me.
You're the CEOs.
What does that mean?
Christmas, Easter only.
Yeah, yeah. No, literally, I've never heard that before.
Never?
No.
Oh, that's funny, especially since that's you.
No, I had no idea.
Maybe it's all the people that go year round that use that term. They're like, "Oh, the CEOs are coming back. It's
Yeah.
Christmas time. Get ready."
For real. I mean, yeah, I only really went for those and like, I mean, there was a point where like my mom went to this like non-denominational like church that we would go to, and it was pretty chill. I would go to like the little like I don't want to say daycare, but like the kids group or whatever, and like we would just like watch movies and chill. Like it was very chill, but I was never like super religious growing up, honestly. So
Yeah, no, I always just like to ask because I think it could potentially play a big part in people's stories, and sometimes, like in your case, it's not really relevant at all.
yeah, I mean it's cool.
Yeah.
Religion's cool. I'm just like not. I mean, not super heavily invested into it, but you know, it's like that.
Yeah. So, what was Let's fast forward a little bit to high school. Where'd you go?
I went to Cedar Ridge High School in Round Rock.
Okay, what was high school like?
It was really it was fun. It was a lot of change going on for me at the time. I had, I mean, let me think chronologically how this went. Um, Honestly, it was a good time. High school was pretty cool. I came out as trans whenever I was 14, I think. So pretty young, and I was fortunate enough to have the like a supportive family, and they really were like, all right, cool. I mean, they could have seen that coming a mile away from based on my childhood and all that kind of stuff. But I was fortunate enough to start testosterone around that time, so I was kind of going through like a second puberty. So it was very like strange. Like I'm like coming into myself.
Yeah.
At that time, but I had a lot of good friends, so that was really cool that they supported me and had my back with all that stuff. So it was pretty good.
So hopefully I get all my terminology correct, and if I don't, please correct me. So you were assigned female at birth.
Yes.
So when you were growing up, what do you recall anything that was going through your head where you were like, I don't identify with this?
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
what?
As a kid, I think like as early, like early on, like when my mom was like trying to dress me and stuff like that, like for school and stuff, like I just hated wearing anything like feminine, and like it was always a struggle for her to dress me. As like as just one example, I mean that I didn't really like typical like girl things, which like I don't know what that would look. I guess like dolls and like playing like how I don't know, just like typical like girly things. I just wasn't really into. Um, but yeah, a heavy emphasis on not being able to be dressed in like girl clothes. I hated it, dude. Like I would like throw tantrums and like it was. I feel bad for my mom. Like it was terrible.
Why do you think you hated it?
Because it just wasn't me. Like it just wasn't me. But I didn't know how to like express that as a young age. I didn't know what that like meant, But I just knew like I just wanted to wear like shorts and like boy like stereotypical like boy clothes or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, it was just always a struggle. Like with that, it was a nightmare honestly. But there's a bunch of things I could say like growing up and when you're like categorized like girls and boys like for like PE class or like
Right.
like stuff like that or like I don't know. It just always felt like I don't know. I just never felt right, But I didn't know like the language for that honestly. So
I as a gay man, I get it because when I know that I was attracted to men at like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but I couldn't even think that sentence yet.
Yeah,
I
like
would just hear like other dudes talking about like girls or they would bring you might not be old enough to remember this, but every Sunday we'd get in the newspaper, we'd get advertisements, and the guys would bring like the bras that were on sale, like the pictures to school. So that was like our way of looking at women with like only bras on. And I remember they'd be like drooling over these pictures. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally, exactly. That's how I felt. It's just like, bro, I don't know.
You just knew that something was different up here, and there wasn't like a click.
Yeah, I always just felt weird, and like I remember growing up, like the girls. I mean, once girls and guys like got to the age where it's like, oh, like you're a girl, like ew, or like you know what I'm saying, like where kids started really like hating on each other for like I don't know, like just like gender differences. Like it just felt really like strange. I was like, why do I feel this way? I just didn't have like the words to describe like what I was feeling, So like I don't know, I was called tomboy a lot, and I remember just being like offended, like why, like I don't know, I just didn't understand why like people like the girls were like kind of making fun of me, but then the guys didn't want to play with me, so I was like, bro, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like I was kind of like estranged, I guess, like at times like in school, but I mean not in like a crazy way, just like stuff like that.
So more in middle school, since more in middle school. Did you have a hard time finding a circle of friends?
No, honestly, I found my friends luckily pretty easily.
Cool.
I was kind of like an emo kid or whatever. Like I like metal and like rock and stuff. I was also just like kind of like generally unhappy and like I found like the friends I found my friends who were like kind of in the same boat at the time, but like we were all chill and like like I don't know, having that group of friends like made us happy and stuff. Like obviously middle school was a really like weird place to be anyway.
Yeah.
So like they understood me and like they kind of like embraced me and like the fact that I didn't know what the hell was going on with myself. So
Yeah.
it was cool. They were they were real ones for that. But yeah, it came pretty easy, which is nice.
It's really funny, man, because when I moved to Austin, like my inner circle of friends has sort of become the punk rock crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'll find
Hell
myself
yeah.
like at a punk rock show on a Sunday night, and I do own a lot of black, but usually it's just like dark jeans, black T-shirt with the
Oh
punk
yeah.
rock band on it, but a lot of the other people there are like full blown makeup, lots of
Yeah.
leather, lots of
Mhm.
mohawks, and
It's so sick.
it's
I love
funny
it.
because like I think it's they're just like my people. It's a very
Yeah.
accepting group. They're very loving and caring and empathetic, and they're just like cool down to. My sister's calling, but
Oh.
we are podcasting.
Sorry, sister.
And sorry I have this out. I do have something somewhat that might happen tonight, so I just need to keep an eye on it.
No, you're
But
totally You're chilling.
yeah, man, the punk rock crowd is just there, and
It's so
and
accepting.
generally not. We do express ourselves as like generally not happy, but I think most of us are. At least
Yeah.
my friends here in Austin, we are all pretty happy, even though we
That's
joke
good.
about like, oh, I'm depressed as fuck.
No, I mean, yeah, that's kind of like the territory I feel like with that kind of crowd, like super accepting. I think like middle school is just like that time where it's like everyone's kind of like puberty's going on, like everything's all weird. I don't know, you're just like figuring yourself out. But like I had so much black in my closet that like my parents were like kind of concerned. They're like, what happened to you? I'm like, I don't know. I think it's just a reflection of like I'm
this is
going through a
you
time.
This is what happened when you tried to force pink on me
No.
for the last 9 years.
No, exactly, exactly. Like they kind of were like, are you good? And I was like, kinda. So yeah,
Kinda.
yeah. I just didn't know what was going on. I just felt weird. I just didn't know what, like I didn't find myself yet, and they helped me with that. Like my friends like helped me through that, and like just like have like being just supportive in general. But
Yeah.
yeah. Definitely love that crowd of people. So
I remember at my school, there's only one gay guy that went there. His name was Solomon, and he was pretty, for lack of a better term, like pretty flamboyant.
Mhm.
And it made me wonder, like, am I not gay? Because I don't act like Solomon at all, but I
Mhm.
do find myself attractive to men, and so was Solomon. So I
Mhm.
had this like weird crisis that was going on.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any thoughts about like, I have to start acting in a different way, or like as you were getting closer to becoming 14 and coming out as trans, were like leading up to that, do you remember if you were questioning like, how am I supposed to act in this world?
Yes, but more so after the fact. Because it was kind of a progression. But like before I officially came out as trans, I realized like, oh, like I like girls, and like, I thought I was just like a lesbian at the time. But it's funny because like, as a kid, like I had crushes on girls and I had crushes on guys, but I didn't really know. Like I just didn't really think about it too much. I was like, oh, like I think they're cool. But obviously, like as time went on in middle school, I was like, oh, like I think I'm bi, and then I was like, oh, I think I'm just a lesbian at the time, and then I like slowly like cut off all my hair basically,
Mm.
and I was like, oh, like this feels good, like I'm like figuring out who I am or whatever, or like how like I want to express myself outwardly, and it was just kind of like a slow progression of like, oh, like I think I'm bi, I think I'm lesbian, but then I still didn't feel right internally, like it was like half of the problem, you know what I'm saying? Like I realized like I'm not straight or whatever. And then, yeah, it was just kind of this progression of like, this is good, but this is not. I feel like it wasn't the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, I was like, oh, like this like solves like half of like my internal dilemma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like I have this whole like funny story of like how I realized I was trans because I really didn't know the language for it. Um, I don't know if I should like go into that right now or whatever, but
You should.
let me take a sip.
Yeah,
'cause
take a sip.
It's a funny story, honestly. Nothing crazy, but so one of the girls that I was hanging out with in like my friend group, I ended up like developing a crush on her, and we became like a little thing. I don't want to say, like, I guess dating, but it was like middle school, so what even is dating at the time?
Right.
You know what I
right,
mean?
Yeah.
But she, we hung around all the time, and like she really got to know me for who I am, and like I guess she saw something that I really didn't see in myself. But the way I remember it is like, um, I had cut off all my hair, and she was there for that, and she was like, "Oh, like like this suits you so well. Like I feel like you should have done this a long time ago. You look so much happier because of that." Um, and I don't know. I mean, I guess like it was a very specific moment that this happened where I was like, "What is going on?" It's funny. So we were in a Ross, and I guess we were just like looking around or whatever. And I was like in the boy section, like looking at like the button ups or whatever. And she like comes up behind me, and she's like, I'm just like looking at the shirt, or whatever. And she's like, in this voice and in this tone, I just couldn't get out of my head. I was like, "What?" She was like, "Why don't you just admit that you're a boy?" And I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" It just like I don't know why like that sentence just like really like struck me like I don't know why. I was just like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Yeah, like it's just so obvious." And I'm like, "What? Like, what do you mean?"
Hmm.
She's like, "I don't know. Like, I don't even know what she said after that, but because like that sentence just like rung in my head because I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Um, and I couldn't stop thinking of it for the rest of that night. I was like, "What does she mean by that?" And I just kind of went down this like rabbit hole in my brain. I was like, is that even like I didn't know the word for transgender. I really didn't. And so when I went home that night, I like looked up um like girl to guy, like because I just didn't know. I
Yeah.
just didn't know like the language for it or anything. And I was like looking at like the search results, and like it was a bunch of like trans men on YouTube like documenting like their like how they knew that they were trans, or like their like first day on testosterone to like 1 year, and like their like changes and everything. And I remember just like looking through all the videos, and I just started like sobbing like crazy, bro. I was like, there's a word for this. Like I didn't know like this is actually how I felt. And I don't know like how she knew and I didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just didn't think it was a thing. Like I don't know. I saw like examples of like trans women in the media, like on like 2020, like I don't know if you remember that show like 2020, like I don't know, they would like cover like trans women, but I guess I never thought that there was like an opposite of that.
Sure.
So yeah, and I remember that night I was just like looking at all those videos, and I was like, this is me. Like I just didn't know that there was a word for this, like or like how I felt. Um, and yeah, that night like changed my that day just changed my life. And I know it's like something so small, and like I don't know, but she was right. Like she was right. I just didn't know like why I felt so weird, but it wasn't I don't even know where I'm going with that, to be honest. It was just like a crazy realization. I was like, damn, like this is me.
You remember
You know?
what day it was?
I don't remember what day it was.
You were
Honestly.
14 though, you think, or 13?
I was 14.
So you would have been a freshman in high school, or was it the summertime?
It was like the summertime, like 8th grade going to like freshman year, I think.
That makes me wonder how many, for anyone in the LGBTQ community, how many of their friends and family members suspect something, or they're like 95% sure of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, he's gay, she's
Mhm.
bi, they're whatever.
Mhm.
I know with me, no one ever said anything, but if a friend had said that in the
Mhm.
right way, like in
Mhm.
a private setting, no one else is around, or even like a store,
Yeah.
no one else is really around. And just like, David, why don't you just come out already? You know,
Yeah. I
I
was like,
wonder how I would.
what?
I feel like it would have made it easier for me to come out. I would have been like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. I was like, what? It just had never occurred to me like that was like a possibility for me, because she obviously saw like my traits and tendencies, and like I guess like my masculinity. She's like, I don't know. It just seems like you're not really a girl. And I was like, honestly, fair. I've never really like felt like a girl like growing up, so it just made sense. But it's just funny that it was like that specific moment that I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
is 2020 a fashion show?
No, no, 2020. It's kind of like Dateline ish. I don't know. They share random stories about people, and like I feel like it's usually some like crime kind of stuff. I don't know why a trans woman would have been on that show, but I don't know. That was like the only depiction I have seen in the media at the time.
Okay, fair.
So I don't know, but definitely an odd place to see that. I don't know, but I never thought anything of that. I was like, oh, like cool. Like when I saw like a trans woman on TV, I was like, oh, okay. But I never really thought anything of it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like whatever.
So
But
what sort of happened between that night and from you taking testosterone for the first time?
oh, a lot. I first of all had to come to terms with like the fact that I realized like that I relate to these people's experiences, like trans men telling their stories of like how they knew that they were trans. I'm like, this is literally what it was. But there was so much that had to happen. I had to tell my mom and my dad. They were not really surprised when I came out as like bi or lesbian at the time because they're like, yeah, we could have seen that coming. Like we've seen you have crushes on girls like growing up, and like obviously you never wanted to dress feminine and stuff like that. So they probably like already kind of guessed that.
So it was it a pretty easy conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard for me. Like, yes and no. It was hard for me because I just didn't know what they were gonna say. Because obviously, like as a parent, you're like, dang, what do I do after my kid says this? So I don't
Right.
know. I was kind of just anticipating like that conversation, and like, I knew that they accepted me being gay, but I like yeah being gay at the time, but I just wasn't sure. Like, this feels like a whole step further, which like it kind of is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a little different because it's like related to my gender and not who I like. Um, so I mean, I think I told my dad first, and I think he just didn't really know what to say. He didn't really say anything like, I think he was just like, oh okay, but I guess he didn't really know like, I guess I don't know, he was just like okay, but there was not really much said after that. I was like, okay.
Knowing his personality, do you think he almost could have taken it as just like, oh, Dakota's just being silly, like, or do you think he took it seriously and just was like very accepting of you and just thought fine?
I mean, like, I don't think he thought I was like, oh, I'm just being silly. I just think he just genuinely didn't know what to say because it's just
Sure.
like, it's a big thing to tell your parent like, hey, I don't think I'm a girl or whatever. And like obviously like he knows me like from growing up, but I think he was probably like just didn't know what to say and just in general at the time. And then I ended up telling my mom with the same girl that I was like dating at the time, and because I was like, I think I just need like support, like while telling my mom this because I didn't know. So I remember like telling her like at this like Italian place, like eating pizza, like with this girl I was like with at the time, and I was just like, hey, so I think I'm like transgender, and like my mom was just like, okay, like I'm not like just like okay, but I think she was like kind of like shocked obviously, but not in a bad way. She was like, okay, like tell me more about that or whatever. So I'm like really lucky that they even had that response, both of them, and that it wasn't something like a lot worse. Because typically, like, it's not that easy for trans people to like come out to their family, especially if they're like religious or like have like these like preconceived notions of what that looks like. So I'm very lucky to have had like parents that were generally like super accepting because they saw how unhappy I was as a as a teenager, and so I'm pretty sure like me finding myself, they're like, okay, cool, like we can move in a step in the right direction so that he's happy. So they were generally pretty accepting, which is great.
This might seem like a stupid question, but have I asked you before in the shop or anywhere, like, hey, are you happy?
Probably,
Yeah,
I think so.
at
Maybe,
least once.
yeah,
It's
probably at least once.
So, I do like people to generally be happy. I think it's great.
Shoot, me
How did
too.
your
Me too.
unhappiness come out? Like, was it just like you weren't smiling much, you didn't laugh much, you seemed like you were always in angst?
Oh yeah,
All of the above.
all of the above. I mean,
Yeah.
it was bad. Like, it was bad, dude. I don't know. My depression really consumed me in middle school, and I feel like that seems like really cliche because it's like it's in middle school. Like, of course,
We're
everyone's
sort of all.
of course, yeah, everyone's going through it. But yeah. I mean, seriously. But for me, like, yeah, I didn't smile. I was not confident. I didn't know. Yeah, I was just really depressed. I really kept to myself. Like, just very like angry inside, but I didn't know why.
Do you recall if you guys changed anything to try to help you in the sense of like seeing a counselor, or would they ever even just sit you down themselves and be like,
Like, what's
"Hey,
wrong?
yeah, what's going on with you? Talk to us." Or, and I'm not trying to dox your parents or
No,
anything.
no,
I'm
no,
just,
no, no. You're fine. No, no. Yeah, I went to counseling. Like before I came out as trans, like because I had like really bad social anxiety and like depression, and I had like bad habits with that, and I didn't want to like. Obviously, my parents were like, "Okay, you need help." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they took me to counseling, and that helped. That helped a bit. And I was kind of like in and out of like therapy for a while. In that time before I knew I was trans, and it helped me like kind of get over my social anxiety and stuff like that. But yeah, they definitely knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I was not a very like expressive person at the time because I was just so uncomfortable. I just didn't know what was wrong. I didn't feel at home in my body, but I didn't know why. Um, and so that like getting therapy helped me realize like, oh, okay, this is why. So
How about the kids at your school? As more and more people started to find out that you were trans, was there any negative kickback from that?
Some, but it wasn't like expressed outwardly to me. Only a few times, but for the most part, like everyone was like kind of talking about it because like you can't transition and not like everyone literally needs to know, or like everyone will find out eventually, you know,
Well, yeah,
especially in a
show up
school.
with a beard one day.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, over time, that's kind of what happened. Um, but yeah, everyone kind of knew they would kind of like talk amongst themselves about it, but I didn't really hear like anything crazy. Luckily, I mean, there was a couple like guys in my middle school that would like tease me. I remember there was only one instance that we were me and my group of friends went out to like this like carnival in Round Rock that they host at like the Del Diamond, and I got spit on. So
No
that was
way.
something. Yeah, they like this guy.
Do you
like,
know who it was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like this guy. I don't want to put his name out there, but I mean, this guy and his friend like had spit on me and my friends like from this ride, like intentionally, which is insane.
That's a pretty bold move.
Yeah,
Bold move, Kyan.
yeah, literally, it was crazy. My dad was there. He like cussed him out. He was like, "How dare you?" Blah blah blah. I don't know what he said, but he went off.
Yeah.
Like he went off. And
Good for
so like
Dad.
yeah, thanks dad. But yeah, that was really like the most like outward display of hate that I have ever experienced personally, which is good. That was it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because it could have been worse. But yeah, there was definitely haters for sure.
I think the only time I got spit on was I used to work in downtown, and the parking garage was 6 blocks from the office, but it was free parking, so everyone used it. And there is this one homeless guy in particular that seemed like, I feel like there's two types of homeless people. They're the kind that are like, you could still have a conversation with them, like they're here, they're present, they're homeless, you know? And then
Right.
you have the ones who are just like strung out on who knows what, and they're tweaking, and you can tell like
Yeah.
you sort of avoid them because you just don't know like what that engagement would. So this one particular guy was like 6'6", he was huge, and he always just looked pissed off. So I would just straight
It's
up
got that face like
cross the street if I saw that he was walking towards me. And there is one day where I'm walking to work, and me and this dude both turn the corner at the exact same time, and he looks down at me and just chucks a loogie straight at
Are
my
you
face.
for real, dude?
And
That's
then
disgusting.
and then keeps
bro.
walking. Fortunately, I had
What a
aviators on,
savage.
so like 90% of it just happened to. Could you imagine if I wasn't wearing glasses and that shit got in my eye?
That's disgusting.
So I
bro.
get to work.
The audacity, like what?
I get to the gym,
Insane.
and the front desk employee's like, dude, I still remember it. She's like, do you know you have spit on your face? It's like,
Ugh,
yes.
that's insane.
Yes, I know. Thank you. Went to the locker room, washed it off. I think I even just threw the glasses away because they were like $9.99 from Walmart. But yeah, dude, getting spit on isn't
Like,
fun.
what did you say? You're just like,
Well, he kept walking. So he spit on me and then like stepped aside and just kept going. So I didn't even have time to really. I was still like registering what happened, and homeboy was already halfway down the next block.
that's insane. I'm sorry that happened to you.
That's fine.
That is
I mean,
not. That is
he's
not
he's
it.
not.
bro.
It's not even his fault. He
don't even know.
He probably doesn't. He literally probably doesn't know.
That's terrible.
Poor guy.
I mean, you're just like, and you just have to like accept that just happened to you. Like, that's kind of happened with me. I'm just like, wow, like I was just spit on. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, that's not a fun. Not definitely not a fun time at all.
Pause real quick.
Mm.
I'm grabbing a drink from the fridge. You want anything?
Can I get another shot?
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I'm hoping my answers are somewhat okay.
They're great.
I
I'm
don't
loving
know.
this.
Me too. It's cool.
So sidetrack for a second while I pour these drinks.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you have fun for your first round for last year when all of you were on?
Yeah, I did. I feel like I didn't really know what to say at some point, so I just kind of was like more quiet. So I was like, dang, I need a redemption episode. So I feel like that's it.
Well, that one was. I was really grateful that you guys were willing to do that with me, because that was the first episode where it was sort of unscripted, and I didn't do any prep work. And I think I told you guys that I wanted the vibe to just sort of be 5 friends sitting back, sharing some drinks, having fun. So even
Yeah,
I
it
wasn't sure.
was.
Like, I was like, this could be a complete clusterfuck. But
No, it was good. It was good. I just felt like I was a little nervous, but I feel like that's just kind of how it is sometimes with like being not the center of attention, because obviously there's like 5 people, but same concept.
But
So.
when you have mics and dude, I have some friends that have straight up told me they're never gonna come on just because they're like they've seen it on YouTube, so they know what the setup looks like, and they're just like, dude, I'd be way too nervous. Like, I'm sorry, I want to, but I just can't.
Yeah, I mean that's how I felt, but I'm trying to push myself to like do things that kind of intimidate me, and like putting my story out there is kind of one of them, because I don't know, it's just very like obviously it's personal, but I feel like I owe it to the community, so.
I do too. I'm really glad you're doing this.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited.
For
Excited.
both. Those are 2 great reasons. It's going to be good for you, and it's going to be good for the audience.
Yeah,
So
I think so. I just hope that it comes across the way I would hope to, like, show that to the world. So I don't know.
cheers.
Cheers. Well,
Knock it back.
very nice.
Today's
Oh,
episode
sorry.
is not sponsored by Dolce. That's not how you say it, huh?
It's dulce, but you know, close enough. Dolce Vita. Why not?
Lime flavored.
Dulce Vita.
It's very good. You don't
Very
even need a
smooth.
chaser. Yeah.
At all. Mm-mm.
I'm probably gonna, outside of this, whatever we shoot, I'm probably gonna put some of that on ice at some point. And
Yeah.
sip on it. I think it'd be
I'd
yummy.
be down. Yeah, whenever.
Let me take a couple swigs of this. I'm getting like a weird.
You're good. I'm highly caffeinated, so get on my level.
I'm catching up.
I thought I turned my phone off. Why did it turn on? Sorry, one second. I'm
No,
just
you're
gonna turn
good.
this off.
So
No need for all this.
how do you want it to come off when you said that a minute ago? Just like genuinely, or how like it's
What, like my story and everything?
yeah.
Well, definitely genuinely, but I don't know, cause genuinely, but sorry, I'm blinking right now. Like I just want people to kind of like understand that like, not all trans people live the same experience, and like that it's not. I don't know, it's not what the media thinks. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There was a lot of like anti-trans rhetoric, like early 20, maybe like when was that? Like 2016 to 2020. Like the anti-trans like bathroom bills and shit like that. I'm like, bro, come on now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just wanted to like show that like we're not weirdos. We're like normal people who like just want to live authentically, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want your kids, bro. Don't nobody want your kids. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to come for your kids or like none of that shit. Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like trans people are painted as like not monsters, but just like creeps or something. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, like we just want to live authentically. It's not a common experience, but it's like, we're not weirdos, bro. Like, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not a weirdo, so I
Right.
don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm a weirdo, but in
Hell
other
yeah.
other ways.
I mean, that's good. Why
Yeah.
not? Definitely not like in that sense.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. You know, one thing I don't know if you've experienced this, and we'll go back to high school in a minute and go through this chronologically. But one of the things I like about Austin the most is last night is a perfect example, or even like actually let me go back 2 nights ago. So 2 guys came over to record. One I had dinner with, so I knew him a little bit, which was great. I love that we were able to meet before recording. The other guy we had met once for like 5 minutes, so they don't know me at all. They were here from New York, so I asked them if I could feed them dinner. I was like, would that make your night any easier so you don't have to get like Taco Bell or like some, road food before you come over? And they said, sure. So we
That's
were able
super
to have
cool.
dinner, and then we recorded a 3-hour and 35-minute episode.
Wow.
And then
That
they
was straight
find
to it.
out we talked about a lot.
As you should.
And then it's 11:45 at night, and they're going to leave, and they find out that the place where they're supposed to stay at, the AC broke, and it was pretty
Oh.
warm out. And so they were like, "Hey, could we stay here tonight?" And I'll bring up a point of why this night was very special to me in a minute. So I was like, "Sure." So they came back up. We popped open a few beers. One of them wanted coffee, which is whatever. Drink your coffee.
At night?
We played
go
some.
for it.
It was decaf, but I was like, "There's still
Okay.
caffeine in that, bro." And
Yeah,
we're like, "We're gonna be going to bed soon-ish, I think." But we ended up staying up till 2:30 in the morning, and then finally went to bed. The next morning, got up. 3 of us had coffee on the porch. They hung out until like 12:30, and then they left.
Nice.
And what I really liked about and dude, like we bonded so quick. And when they left, like we all gave each other hugs. And we were like, "I love you, bro. I love you, bro." And so they
Nice.
left. And what I'm used to in Sacramento is Like this even happened in 2023. Someone who's known me for a while, they didn't know I was gay. And when I told him, he was sort of like, oh, to your point of like, oh, because you're lesbian or gay or trans, like that should be my reaction is like, oh.
That's not fun.
And what I've noticed in Austin is it's the opposite where at least in the people I've been meeting, it's like it literally doesn't even matter.
No.
They're just like, we don't care that you're gay. We'll like, I actually feel like friends like would rather like not spend the night at my house because they're like, I'll just tell you what's gone through my head is like, oh, well, he's gay. Like, what if he rapes us while we're asleep?
That's insane.
And that stems from a friend who, when I came out of the closet, told me that he thought our decade of friendship was based off the fact that I just was hoping to have sex with him one day.
That's insane, bro.
And so now it took me a couple years to get that out, like get his comments to not be part of my identity anymore.
Yeah.
And so when they stayed over, like that was very significant to me because I'm like, dude, they feel safe around me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
There's nothing wrong with you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like for him to like think that like, oh, like, you know, David's gay, that means like he must want to sleep with me is like crazy. Because like, no, that's not how it is. I mean, I don't know if you liked him or not or whatever, but
not like, no, I mean, dude, we had been friends for 10 years. We had been workout buddies. We worked together at the same company for a little bit of time. Our friends group intertwined. I was like, dude, we're just friends.
Yeah.
Like, we're really good friends.
I'm like, you can be friends with someone who's gay and they don't want to sleep with you. Like, that's not that insane to, like, comprehend. I mean, to me, I feel like it's not that insane to comprehend. But obviously some people have, like, these notions of, like, what gay means or whatever. Or, like, what that looks like in, like, hanging out with someone who's gay. But, like, it's not like that.
Yeah.
So...
Anyways,
crazy.
I love Austin, and I'm staying here for life because I've only met beautiful people since I moved here.
No, seriously. That's what I like. I think
Excuse me.
Hey,
Jesus.
good one. Good one.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That was a good
came
one.
out of nowhere. Excuse me, everyone.
He said, let me come through real quick.
Between the shot and then immediately a few swigs of Monster. My God. Mark Normand over here.
I mean, I'll try to match that, but I don't think I can, so we'll see.
All right, we'll see.
I forgot what I was saying though.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're chilling. I was gonna say that's why I love Austin because I feel like it's a very like accepting area. Like I have also met really beautiful people here, and like I couldn't ask for a better place to grow up, especially with like my experience. Like I feel like I haven't had it as worse as other people because of like a place that they live where it's like super like conservative or like they small town mindset type of thing. So I am lucky that did not have that problem here. So thank you, Austin.
Do you have any idea? I've heard Houston has like a huge gay community or a huge LGBTQ community. Do you know if they have like a bigger population than Austin does, or if Dallas is less than, or anything like that?
I have no idea. I feel like
neither.
I feel like in any big city, the gay community kind of like consolidates themselves. You know what I'm saying? So
Los
definitely
Angeles and San Fran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure like Houston has a bigger population in general, so that probably means that there's more of a queer community in the area. But yeah.
Let's see.
The queer community always finds their people, so that's one thing I've noticed. Anywhere I go, honestly.
G.
I can't remember the specific percentage, but I feel like it's like 3% of the population is like a part of the queer community. I'm not really sure if that's accurate or not. I should have checked my facts.
So there probably isn't going to be any surprises here, but the cities with the highest population: New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco. Oh, but the best place to live for if you're in that community is New Orleans.
Oh wow, really?
The gayest city in Texas is Austin.
Hell yeah.
Gayest city
I could see that.
Me too.
For sure.
Fort Lauderdale is the gayest city in Florida. Is that a surprise, or does that seem on track?
I have no idea. I feel like it would be Miami, but I guess I don't really know.
San Antonio celebrates and welcomes all. That's very generic. That doesn't give us too much. I mean, great.
I'm like, cool. We don't discriminate. Yeah,
right,
like,
that's cool.
That's
but
all I'm getting.
Like, so do all companies now too. That's why I think it's funny is like when companies post. that's a whole nother topic that we don't need to get into.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. I see what you mean though.
So high school, you're 14. You got spit on by a homeboy that will be unnamed. Dad chewed him out. What else sort of went down freshman year?
I had went through like gender therapy, I guess.
What's that?
It's basically just like therapy where in like the simplest terms, like they see that you're like legit and that you don't like you're like legitimately trans and not just having like some sort of like crisis and where you think you're trans but you're not. So it's kind of just like general therapy that's like, tell me about why what have you experienced in your life that like you think that you're trans or whatever. So it's a way to confirm that you're legit. I don't want to say it like that because I feel like people are gonna be like, "What?" But like, kind of.
So
though.
what? So is it like? Is it 6 weeks? Are you taking tests? Are you like how do they
No.
determine your legitimacy?
I mean, just through like they want to make sure that like that your gender dysphoria has been consistent throughout your life and that it's not just something that's like out of nowhere that you're feeling, or I don't know, not that it's out of nowhere, but like that it's like a consistent theme throughout your life that you have had these like struggles, so that it's not because some people. How am I supposed to put this? Like, some people might think like, oh, like you're trans because like you've been through like some sort of like abuse and you think that you're like the opposite gender for that reason, or I don't know. Like it could be based off of different reasons that people might think that you're like not actually transgender. So that's kind of what it's for, is because some people might go through like some traumatic experience and then maybe feel like, oh, I'd rather be a man because women are treated like shit or something like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or like discriminated against or something. So it's kind of just like a way of like the therapist to be like, okay, like show me the signs like that you've been going through this, and like that gender therapy was needed so that I could get a prescription for testosterone, because otherwise like you can't do it. So it's just a way of being like sure that this is what you want, and yeah, just being sure basically.
Was it a positive experience, and would you say that it's a good tool that we have in place to do that?
Yeah, I would definitely say that it's like necessary. Unfortunately, like Texas passed a law to where like minors can't get on testosterone anymore.
So 17 or younger?
Yeah, I think so. So I think you have to be 18 now.
Okay.
And so I was luckily able to start my transition before then, which like sucks. I feel bad for like people like
The
trans,
law being
like,
passed sucks?
yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think so personally. I just feel like like in general, like I think therapy should be needed to make sure that this is the right decision for a minor, because obviously your brains are not fully developed. But I knew that that's what I needed for me. But the fact that they just took that away like off the table for people is like kind of insane. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely feel like therapy is needed though. I don't think you should just be handing out like testosterone to kids like just because they say that they're trans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I asked you about the therapy and what your take on it was.
Yeah, no, I think it's important. I think it is important because like I said, there could be many reasons why someone might feel like gender dysphoria, which basically just means like you're
Excuse me.
no, you're good. Like gender dysphoria is just like you're uncomfortable like with your like gender assigned at birth or whatever. So yeah, I just feel like it's important
Yeah.
because you don't want to just be handing out hormones to kids. Like that's kind of insane.
Obviously, neither of us are doctors, but I would be curious to try to reach out to someone and see. And if you do have any information on this, I'd love to hear it. But see if there's any medical implications, good or bad, about taking testosterone at 14 versus 18. Because one of the thoughts that went through my head is, if you can't start taking it until you're 18, is could your body be like too developed to have a healthy transition, if that makes any sense at all? I don't really know what I'm talking about here. I'm just like thinking out loud.
Yeah, I don't know what like how much it would affect like from me being 14, like if I was 18, or I don't know, like I'm trying to think how to word this. Like I don't know if it's like too early. I don't think so. Like I've honestly,
On the flip side, right? Yeah, is
I
it
don't
too early
I
at 14?
yeah, I don't think it's I personally don't think it's too early for me, but like they would monitor like what testosterone ranges I should be in for like boys my age. So it was kind of like it's linear, like with like my like how I'm aging and stuff. Like okay, what level should I be at and whatever. So I don't know how much it like how much it like affects like if you're older when you take it or you're younger. Obviously, if you're 18, you probably have already gone through like female puberty if you're like transitioning from a girl or like from like female to male. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure about all the science stuff, but
We'll get a doctor on.
yeah, that'd be good.
That would be actually a really cool conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how ignorant I am, and I apologize in advance.
All good.
Is testosterone? Is it a pill? Is it an injection? How are you consuming it?
Injection. I do it weekly. Weekly injection. I've been doing it for 6 years now.
Okay. So
Yeah.
have you not done any since you were 20?
Oh no, I do it every week.
Oh, still. So you've been doing it for 8 years. You said you're 22 now, right?
Yeah.
And you
dang,
started
how long
when you
has
were
it been?
14?
Like 15. 15 for I came out as trans at 14, but 15 I started taking.
Gotcha.
testosterone,
Okay,
so-
my bad.
so
So
like
6 years, give or take. Yeah,
yeah.
6 years and change.
Mhm. But I mean, yeah.
When you first started, did you see any changes? What kind of change does it affect your mood at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good, bad, it depends on the week.
Yeah, it depends on the week. I think like I don't know. When I first started, it was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I was like moody necessarily. It was just like I don't know. You're going through like a second puberty, so however that manifests for you. But like,
Right.
I was definitely like, I was honestly more excited. So I was not. I don't think I was ever like angry or anything because of like starting testosterone. Because some people say like, oh, like tea makes you angry, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know about that. I feel like it honestly leveled me out a lot more than anything. I was a lot more,
Less depressed?
yeah, less depressed on it for sure. I remember my doctor was like, "Oh, like you were taking antidepressants." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You probably won't need them after this. If this is something that you feel like you need to feel better."
Was he
you
right?
know? Oh yeah, instant like bro, crazy. That's just what I knew that I needed.
Right.
It definitely helped me so much, dude. Like I have never been happier.
This might be
So-
another ignorant question, but in hindsight, do you think it was a good thing that you were on antidepressants? Did those help, or I don't really know a lot about them.
I feel like they didn't do like.
Were you less depressed?
I don't know, dude. I don't think so. Like, I think I was just more numb, and I'm like, I don't even think that that's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that it was better. So when
Do you remember how they made you feel?
just like numb, honestly.
Almost like if you're drunk.
No, not
Not
no.
that was a bad
No,
comparison,
no.
but like I've heard that some people describe alcohol as like a numbing agent, or even like in movies. You know how if like they're about to get stitched up, they'll be like, "Hand me the whiskey." and
Yeah,
So
no.
almost, I don't know. That's why that sort of came to mind. But I'm just trying to imagine like what, because I've never taken antidepressants. So I'm just trying to try to come up with some sort of comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know a good comparison. I just felt like I couldn't experience like a full range of emotion. Like it kind of numbs like my sadness, but then also kind of numbs like my happiness too. Like it was kind of just like baseline. Like like I'm kind of just like floating through life, but
You're
not
just
really like
existing.
feeling.
Yeah.
So once I got off of it and I like started coming to terms with like who I was and like what that meant and like what all I would have to do to like basically like transition. I just knew that was like the right path for me. And so when I got off of my antidepressants, the doctor that I was seeing at the time, he was like, "This should help you tremendously with your depression, because you're gonna start like your outside is gonna start matching the inside of like how you feel." And it really did. It really did. And I was really fortunate to start at like an early age to where like I knew that that's what I needed. Like once I really found out like, oh yes, like this is how I feel. Like I do identify with like, being trans and like what that looks like for me. But it did help a lot.
So
That man saved my life, dude. Straight up.
You don't have to say his name, but do you remember who he is?
Oh yeah, and he passed away, and it was really random. But like
Oh,
I was like, dang, dude.
sorry.
But I mean, R.I.P. to the homie. He was amazing. His name was Francis. Super
Francis.
cool.
Shout out
Super
Francis.
Cool. Yeah, super cool.
What
He's
kind of doctor was he? Do you know?
a nurse practitioner,
Okay.
I think. Maybe he was a step above. I don't know. He was like studying a bunch of stuff. He was doing like a bunch of like research with like how to treat like HIV and stuff like that, and like just like medicine related to like the gay community. So he was really involved in that, and like really took like the time to like study like trans people, and like did like medical research on the effects of like testosterone and like estrogen on like trans people. So he did a lot of good work for the community. So shout out to him.
Well, at this point, the audience hopefully knows I'm pretty good at finding people. But
Hell yeah.
to what we said a few minutes ago, if anyone's watching this and you do know someone in Austin that is currently pursuing these type of studies that I could reach out to, shoot an email to sitbackwithdavid@yahoo.com and be like, hey, you should insert their name on the show, and I will reach out to them.
Yeah.
Because I would really love to do that, have an episode about someone. I love that we were getting your perspective of someone who went through it. I'd love to get an actual scientist, doctor, nurse practitioner, whatever the title is on, to talk about it from the medical standpoint. But so you start taking tea. How did you see your body change over the next couple months or year?
It was insane.
How quickly till you saw it? Like, what was the very first change you experienced?
Definitely my voice dropped like within like the first 2 months. Like
5 minutes in.
Yeah. I mean, it
you
was.
Went home and we were like, "Hi, mom."
Yeah.
Whoa.
Imagine. No, it was crazy, dude. It was crazy. So like within like the first month or two, like my voice started getting a lot more like, it dropped a little, but it was like raspy, like preteen, obviously like preteen boy vibes where it's like your voice is cracking and like shit like that. It's like. It was definitely the voice first, and kind of what happens with testosterone, like when someone, a sign-up female, takes testosterone, or a sign-up female at birth takes testosterone, they like the fat pattern in your body like redistributes into like the male pattern, so you kind of start developing like secondary sex characteristics of a man, so like fat redistributes into like the male pattern.
Can I ask a personal question? We can cut it out if we need to. Where was the fat, and where did you see it redistributing to?
Oh, I mean, definitely like hip area to like, I don't know, more like stomach. I don't really know exactly. It was like,
I could see that because like I feel like I am a pretty low body fat percentage, and I feel like the bulk of my fat like is in my belly. Like there's nothing in my arms at this point.
Yeah.
But legs very little.
Yeah, it just kind of like goes here, but then like I mean, I don't know. I was still like really skinny at the time, so probably like it was less noticeable.
Not
but,
a lot of fat to go around. In
yeah,
the first
less fat in like the face, and it kind of just redistributes like more here. I don't really know because I had like really big cheeks. I still kind of do now, but I was like, I mean, I don't know. It just like I'm trying to think. Like it probably goes more from your hips to like your stomach, and then like you get more muscle mass. So like my arms were like getting big. Well, I don't know about bigger because I wasn't really working out like crazy, but
bigger. Not large, but they grew. They grew. Yeah.
And then like probably like my legs, like it was probably like less bottom heavy to like it was just more distributed. I don't really know how to describe
That's
it.
fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I got more muscle mass. I started getting like facial hair probably like 3 to 6 months in. Not this much. Like I had like whiskers and like maybe like 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 this little like peach fuzz here, and then like a couple like chin hairs. But I'm Puerto Rican, so it's kind of like in my genes to have like a lot of hair, at least from my dad's side. So, or like both. I mean, my parents are both Puerto Rican, but I think I just inherited all of that, the hairy genes. I am just on my werewolf status now, honestly.
I don't know about that, but yeah, you got hair now. You got a very nice beard.
Bro, thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, shout out to my dad for that, for them genes. But it came in strong, probably like my junior to senior year. Like, it really started to come in a lot more. But yeah, and then like my strength increased, and like, I mean, by no means am I like a power lifter, but like testosterone does not make you like jacked by any means. Obviously, you need to put in the work. It's not like I'm like on like steroids or something. But yeah, definitely there was a lot of changes. Like whenever you first start testosterone, like you get like, they call it like the 3 H's. Like you get like really hot and you get like really hungry, and like the third is like you get like horny or whatever. So
did those 3 H's happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know about if I like the hot one very much.
No, it's like
That's
you're having like hot flashes. It's like I don't know. You just want to like crawl out your skin. Like
so if it's like wintertime, where you feel like it's almost like you're just
I'm just like sweating, like, dude.
Interesting.
Sweating. It's like hungry, and like obviously the third speaks for itself. But yeah.
Do you still feel the hot today, or does that sort of pass after a couple years?
Not really. It just passes after like probably like 3 to 6 month mark.
Okay.
Or like 3 months to a year. So. Yeah, I mean, it happens differently for everyone, just based on like your like genetics and stuff. But I was definitely eating a lot at the time.
Yeah,
so, yeah, had to make some room for the muscle or whatever.
Did you gain a lot of weight?
Not like a ton that I remember, but I felt like before like my like the fat was redistributing, like it felt like I was very like pudgy in my face for a while until it really started to like settle. Um, so I definitely felt like I looked a little like more round at a certain point,
Yeah.
and then it kind of like settled in. So, yeah,
Did you play any sports?
not really, no.
Not really. Outside of the testosterone, was there anything else that you were taking or doing?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Testosterone.
Yeah, just the T. I never did like puberty blockers or anything because there was no point. I had already went through like female puberty at the time,
Yeah.
so yeah, there wasn't really like a need for that, I guess. But yeah, nothing else really.
Excuse me. And then how do you think your emotions change from like sophomore to junior to senior year of high school? Did you see yourself becoming happier, more confident, sort of
Yeah.
coming into your identity as Dakota?
Yeah. It improved my life so much. Like it is definitely like it was the missing link for me. Is like like realizing all this stuff about myself. Like I was just happier in general. I smile more. Like I was just more myself. I really like. I don't know how else to put it other than like defrosted. Like I felt like I defrosted. It felt like whenever I was in middle school, I was just like really like cold and like I just didn't really. I was not expressive. And then as I started like going through like the motions in high school, I felt like I really just became more expressive and like more myself. Cause I was like unrecognizable, dude. Like seriously, all my friends are like, yeah, you're who you're supposed to be now, for sure. So that was good.
Did you start wearing different clothes too, or were you sort of already wearing the clothes that you wanted to, based off what we talked about earlier?
I was already kind of wearing clothes that I liked, but I didn't really know how to dress masculine very well. Like I was still kind of figuring out like how I wanted to dress in general. And like I didn't know how to like shop for jeans and stuff like that, or like just like just like random stuff like that, or like what shoes I would want to wear and stuff. So
Was it sort of cool though, going into a store and being like, "Who do I want to be? Like, do I like Crocs? Do I like do I like boot cut or do I like skinny fit? Do like
Yeah.
Did that sort of go through your head where you're just like, I don't know what I like."
yeah, I didn't really know. It took me a while to figure out like how I wanted to dress and stuff. Because I just wasn't really sure how to dress even in general. Because even when I was like presenting as female, like I was very much like still wearing jeans and like a hoodie. I'm a very big hoodie person. Like I don't know what it is. It's like a comfort item for me. I don't have one right now because I was like, let me just put something nice.
One of my friends was in town this week and he was wearing a hoodie and all week, and I'm like, "Bro, it's fucking hot." Like
No,
it wasn't
no, no.
hot, but I'm like, "This ain't hoodie weather, brother.
No,
This
yeah.
it's been warm."
Yeah, I wear a hoodie in like all seasons. Like
You like it? You're like that too?
Mm-hmm,
That's funny.
It's just like I don't know. I like having something like to put over my head if I feel like it, or I don't know. It's just
Hey,
like,
whatever makes you comfy.
just-
I just think y'all are crazy.
oh no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I used to wear a hoodie in like 100-degree weather. Like that's actually insane, but I don't do that anymore because that's like ridiculous.
Dude, that's like my dog. He'll be burrowed under that blanket in the summertime, and I'll hear him. He'll be under there, and he'll be going, and I'm like, you know, you can fix this by just like
Yeah, just
coming
like just
out.
like get out. Just like move out just a little bit.
Put your head out at least.
No,
you know?
literally.
Yeah.
You know, stick your little toes out. You know, that's a classic trick.
Did your friend group change at all?
Mm-hmm,
Or actually, let me rephrase that because I don't like how did you feel like? Here's what I wanted to ask: Did you feel like you were able to more confidently form new friendships now that you were walking in your identity?
I feel like it made me more open as a person. I mean, I think in general, like you kind of like outgrow some friends and they kind of like do their own thing. You kind of do your own thing. Especially it was like the transition from like high school from like middle school to high school. You kind of get to meet new people. So at first, like we all kind of stayed in that same group, but then eventually you meet more people and a lot of people like started to see that I was like more outgoing and that kind of thing. So my friend group did kind of expand over that time, which was pretty nice, and I got to meet a lot of cool, supportive people. So, and they kind of knew what was going on, so they were like, "Oh man, like you're like you're getting facial hair and all this stuff." Like I don't know, they were rooting for me and stuff, so it was pretty cool. Or like, "Oh, you look so different," that kind of thing. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
What else? Anything else in high school specifically that you think is an important part of your journey that the audience should know about? Especially anyone listening that has been having their own conflicting ideas about who they are.
I'm trying to think. Can you like say that again?
Yeah, is there? So basically, I'd like to transition to graduating and barbershop and whatnot. But before we do,
Mm-hmm.
the question is there anything else that happened during your high school experience that you think would be beneficial for the audience to hear? Events, stories, relationships. Did you have a girlfriend?
I did, yeah. I had a couple in high school.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They were both amazing, like supportive people. I met this one girl named Sophie, and she like really helped kind of I don't know, just like she was a very supportive role at the time, and obviously I was going through all these changes like my freshman year and stuff, and like she was like super supportive of like my journey and just like helped me kind of rationalize like my feelings and stuff like that. So she really helped me a lot in that aspect, and just like being more comfortable with myself and stuff like that. So um I think like what else was important. I mean, I feel like everything was important. I had a really good group of friends that just were just like supportive. I mean, they didn't really. It wasn't even about me just being trans. Like they just were just supportive people in general and helped me like come out of my shell a lot more. Um, and yeah, I mean, they just helped me like just form my personality more. I don't know how else to describe it. I feel like I'm not answering your question very well. I don't know what else I'm
No,
trying to say.
you are. Did you? Was there anyone that when you told them you were trans, their response was very not genuine, special to you?
Yes, I mean there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh wow," like I didn't or that they didn't know, and they were like, "Oh, like I could never tell," which is like that's a good thing to hear because it means like yeah, like that's kind of the point,
Yeah.
For me anyways. Like I was like, oh, like they don't really see me differently. I mean,
I think you may have just hit the nail on the head. It goes back to like those two guys I mentioned, is they never
mhm,
brought it up. Like
yeah,
they were
they
not
just didn't really care.
they knew. One knew because I told him a story from Grinder, and he just
Yeah,
laughed his ass off at it.
no,
And then
yeah,
the other one, oh, so then he ended up telling the other my other buddy,
hmm
and I think with them it was just sort of never acknowledged, and
hmm
I think I almost like that the most. Just like I want to acknowledge when you walk through the door today, like, oh, you're wearing green today, or
hmm
like, oh, I don't know, like we don't have to like acknowledge all of our parts of our personality. I think it's more
hmm
important to just be like, this is Dakota, and I
hmm
accept him for who he is and everything about him.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's I got a lot of that kind of support in school where it's like, oh, like cool. I don't. He was like I had like guy friends that I had told and they were like, oh, cool. Like I didn't. They just didn't really give a shit, and I think that's like the most refreshing part. Is like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. Like that's it. It's not even a big deal. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Obviously, people have their questions and stuff, and like I'm pretty open to answering whatever. But like for the most part, it was nice to like have people just be like, oh, okay. It's not a big deal. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't really change how I view you. I mean, for some people it did. They're like, oh, like I remember this guy in my class. This was kind of funny. Like there was a guy in my class who was like telling this other guy that I was trans, like to like amongst themselves or whatever. And this guy, I mean, he was kind of an idiot for this. He was like, what did he say? He was like, oh, like is that true? Like you were a girl, like out loud. And then the guy who like told him looked at him like, dude, you're an idiot. Like why would you say that out loud? Like basically like dumbass. Like why would you say that out loud? Like, and I looked at him with his face. I was like, yeah, bro. Like yeah, I am. Like so who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like whatever. And so they made it this big deal, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
Yeah, I love, that's a funny story.
I mean, there was so many little like instances where, I mean, it was like validating to know like yeah, it's not a huge deal. It's not the biggest part about me. The only reason I want to talk about it today is because I feel like it's not really like I don't know how often you interact with trans people and you don't even know. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because I feel like people have this like preconceived idea of like what that looks like or like what that what trans looks like, and it's like no, like it could be the person you're sitting next to and you wouldn't even know.
Right.
So yeah, we're just normal people. That's literally all like the whole point of why I want to come on is like, yeah, you know, we're just chill. It's nothing
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, but
So after high school,
Mhm.
did you know you wanted to go be a barber, or what sort of went on after you graduated in the months after that?
well, I didn't always know I wanted to be a barber. I honestly wasn't super sure what I wanted to do in college. I had a history of doing like stuff related to like graphic design and stuff like that. So I was like the last like all 4 years through high school, I was doing like graphic design, and that was kind of like my area of study, which is really cool. But as I like started to finish my senior year, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this like full time, because like I enjoy it as a hobby, but I don't want to like do like art, like visual art like that as like my full time profession. Um, but I also wasn't really sure like like if I wanted to go to college in general. I was like, I don't want to take out like loans and like not even sure like not even be sure about what I want to do, and like I don't want to waste my time or money. But then also I graduated in 2020, so like the whole pandemic was going on. Like we came back, or I don't know, we went to spring break and then we never came back to school. So that was kind of like an interesting period of like, okay, well, what do I do now? Because I guess I'm not finishing my senior year at school, so it's kind of like this like abrupt like drop off of like, okay, well now what, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to answer your question, I remember like looking through like Instagram and like seeing like these like barber videos and like they're like satisfying like cutting hair videos and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I was like, oh, like that seems pretty cool. And I remember like looking around like in the hallways, like when I walked to class, I'd be like, oh man, like the haircut kind of looks like shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, dang, I feel like I could do like a better job
This
than
was
like,
in high school before COVID when you guys were all still on campus.
yeah. I would like look around and be like, oh man, like they kind of did you dirty. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
like
funny.
your barber did you dirty. But I didn't, obviously I didn't know how to cut hair, but like I would, in my head, I'd be like, I feel like I could do a better job than that, you know? But I never really thought too much of it. Um, and like over time, like I kept seeing like these like reels, and I'm like, I don't know, I feel like it would be cool to cut hair. I feel like I could be good at that because I'm like a visual person. I like art. I've always liked art and like music and stuff like that. And like I don't know, I was just like that could be a cool skill to learn. And it just kept coming up in my head. I was like, I don't really want to do college, but I'm not really sure. And so one day I was like, I'm just gonna do barber school. Like, why not?
Yeah.
So it just came up. It just came up. Oh, another thing. I don't know how I overlooked it. Whenever I had like cut off all my hair, like whenever I was, what age was I? I guess like 14. Yeah, probably like 14 or so. That feeling of like, wow, like I recognize myself in the mirror more than I ever have.
Did you
when
just
I
go
had
down
short
to
hair.
like a one, like a buzz cut?
No,
Oh.
no. It was like a longer. I don't want to say longer. Like it was like a shorter. It was a shorter cut, but it gradually got shorter and shorter as time went on. Like it was like kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Like it felt like a lesbian haircut. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't know how else to, like a very like butch like short haircut, but like not completely like clipper cut. Like not really like it didn't have that barber edge to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Well, did you just do it yourself or?
no, I went. My mom was like, "Oh, there's this lady at like cost cutters like down the road, and like she has short hair. Like she can probably do your haircut." And so like I went there, and I was like, "Yeah, like let's take it all off." And she was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like let's do it."
Was it pretty long?
It was like to it was like to like my mid back.
Oh wow! And so you went up to it being like what, 6 inches or something?
Oh, dude, no, it
Not
was
even
like,
that.
it was like, I mean, I don't know. It was very short. It was very short in comparison to like the long hair that I had. But like I remember that feeling of like after I got it cut off, I was like, "Oh, like this is me." And I think I like after I saw that and I like started feeling more comfortable with my hair, and I kept going shorter as time went on. My mom was like, "Are you sure you want to go that short?" I'm like, "Yeah, like this is, you know, I want my hair short, like whatever." So I started getting like kind of like more like masculine haircuts or whatever. Um, but that feeling of like, wow, like I recognize myself. I realized like when I started taking interest in barbering, I was like, I kind of want to do that for other people. You know, like I kind of want to have people be like, "Oh shit, like that's clean, like that's me." Like, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
wanted to provide that feeling for other people, and like I definitely have, and like I love it. Like that's I love it.
Yeah.
I love cutting hair for that reason. Like people are like, "Oh crap, like I didn't know I could look like this." You know, like their
Yeah.
confidence is like it's beaming through their face. I love that. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, there's something about every time Phil does my beard, I got it done for an episode this week. Is gonna be one of the biggest episodes of the year, and I was like, I need to look good for this.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. That's sick.
you
Like
know?
that's what it's about. It's just like I don't know. People come in with like a kind of energy of like, oh, like they feel like kind of gross, like they're like overgrown, like their beard's not done, their hair's not done, and like once you get done, like you can just see like in their face and in their energy that like they feel so much better about themselves.
Yeah.
And I want to do that for other people.
Yeah.
Because she did that for me, and like it changed my life. And like I know it's like it's a different kind of like circumstance, but like I don't know, giving people a good haircut is a great feeling because you're like, oh hell yeah.
It's funny, we have that phrase that's sort of pretty cliche, like look good, feel good.
No, yeah,
But dude,
it's
I'm
so
telling
true.
you, when I'll shave my head right before I go and see Phil, and part of the reason is because he'll clean up my neck for me on any spots that I missed.
Mm-hmm.
And typically on that same day, I'll hit a gym too. I'll hit a gym.
Hit a
I'll
gym.
hit a workout. I'll visit a gym. Um, but when I get a workout in, get my beard shaved, and shave my head all in the same day,
You just feel so
I
fresh.
feel like
Dude.
$1,000,000.
Yeah, that's the best feeling. That's
Yeah.
the best feeling. I just love doing that for people and like people's reactions. Like, I don't know. I have a couple clients who like their reactions are just priceless every time, and I'm like, yeah, that's
Well,
why I do this.
you probably have some clients that you to generally go to a I don't want to say company names, but like
No, you should.
retail
You should.
stores,
You should.
like a Great Clips,
Yeah, yeah.
and they've been doing that
throw
for like
all the
8
shade.
years,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go to see you for the first time.
Oh, it's the best. They're like, oh, I've never had a professional beard trim. I'm like, oh, say less. I got you, bro. I got you. And honestly, bro, throw shade at Great Clips. Like they are not in the business of making people look good.
They're in the business of making money.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, and you are too. It's a for-profit business, but it's
Yeah,
a complete. It's apples and oranges what we're comparing here.
yeah. It's more the barbershop is more personable versus like Great Clips is like they're getting you in and out in, like 15, 20 minutes.
Great Clips isn't serving you whiskey.
No, oh, definitely not.
And I remember
Definitely
Phil
not.
said to me once, he was like, "Can he or not? How do you word it?" He was like, "Just so you know, if you want to get here like 20 minutes earlier, stay 30 minutes after you're done. We would love for you to do that." And I was like,
Yeah.
that's what's up.
Exactly. I'm like, you can just come chill. Like it's whatever.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. I'm happy I picked the career path that I did. I'm like, it's so cool to just like express myself like creatively in a way because I mean
Yeah.
it's an art. I think cutting hair is an art. Being able to talk to all kinds of people is an art, and especially for someone like me who was extremely socially anxious, like like whenever I was younger, to like blossom in the way that I have, and I can literally talk to anybody, and like have good conversations with most people is like awesome. So it's a really cool part of the job.
What do you have to do to become a barber? Do you like because you can't just walk into the bearded barber and like apply?
No,
right?
no. You need to have a license, a barber license, and for that it requires 1,000 hours in Texas. And then you like do like your state board, so like your written and then practical exam, and then once you pass that, you can be a licensed barber.
Cool.
But it does take 1,000 hours. It used to be more. It used to be like 1,500, which is crazy. I would not want to do that.
So one of my favorite stories was from Phil, and the question was, was there a time that you ever just accidentally fucked someone up
Oh
when
yeah.
you were doing those 1,000 hours? What was one of your worst ones?
I'm trying to think. And I don't want to sound like oh I was the best because like that's definitely not the case. But like I honestly feel like I really didn't fuck someone up like that bad. There was only just like one instance where I had one of my coworkers' boyfriends come for a haircut, and I was trying to learn how to do like what's called like a clipper over comb technique. So like you just like you take your comb and you like you cut the hair like using the comb instead of like a guard to help like blend or whatever. And like I put a terrible line in his haircut because like the blade was just under the comb in a way, and I did it too fast and wasn't paying attention. And I put like a really harsh line in the haircut, and I was like, so so I'm gonna be so real with you right now. I just put like a line in your haircut, but I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna make it look good and intentional. So I ended up doing like this like line design on the back of his head, so like it kind of like negated the mistake I made, and so he was chill about it. But if it was like like a walk in, like I would be a little bit more stressed. But
Right.
then again, it's like barber school, so it's like you kind of have to like realize like everyone's learning, you know?
That's Phil said the same thing. Is like where you're going. Like you can't walk into the barber school and expect a bearded barber ATX experience.
Yeah, no. But I had a method to my madness. Like whenever I was working at HEB at the time to save for barber school because I didn't want to like be stressed about the money and all that kind of stuff. So I like saved all in advance. But I think I just like derailed my thought process. But I would have my coworkers come in for a haircut, and I'd be like, hey, like come into the school, like I'll get you right. And I'm like, just tell me like what kind of haircut you want, and like before you come in, so I could like look it up on YouTube like how to do it, and then I would do it. Like so I would kind of like study it beforehand, because I never just wanted to go in blind, because I like to be the most prepared. And like it worked out. Honestly, I never really messed anyone that bad. Like there was probably like unblended lines at some point in like my fades, but that goes away after a while.
Yeah.
You kind of realize what you're doing. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Were either of the exams hard that you had to take after the 1,000 hours?
I think like the practical is probably the hardest because there's like a lot of steps that you have to do, and like they're really adamant about like sanitation and like cleanliness in general. They're really big on sanitation. It's like that's honestly what the license is mostly about. But you have to like do like a like all in a mannequin too. So like a face shave, a haircut, facial, like bleach, like retouch, like root retouch, and like stuff like that, like color processes. If you like cut someone, like what are you supposed to do? Like how do you like clean up your station and them and all this stuff. Um, a blow drying, like thermal curl. It's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of stuff. But like you have to really know like the order and the steps, and like you can't do anything without sanitizing your hands after after everything. It's heavy on sanitation.
Yeah.
Because like that's the whole thing with a license. Like you want to know that you're not going to give someone like some sort of like disease, infectious disease, because you didn't recognize it. So
Right.
yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing.
So you got licensed, and then what happened?
Um, I was working at Finley's barbershop as a receptionist for a while.
Is
And
that the one Jordan was at? No.
No.
Rooster.
Yeah, he was at
Yeah.
Roosters.
Okay. So you were at
Me and
Finley's.
Flight both worked at Finley's separately at different times, but I was the receptionist and I would kind of like walk-ins on the side, so I kind of got some experience doing that, and that was pretty cool. And I got to work with a bunch of like these like super cool ladies. Like they were just like the chillest group like to work with, and like I kind of miss them honestly, but it's fine. I kind of wish we had like a co-ed situation, not co-ed. I don't know, like girls and guys working at the shop, because it's
Yeah.
just good energy to have both honestly. But they're a really good group, and I got to learn a bunch of like different things from them, and I would just ask them questions like as I was kind of just like folding towels, just like doing busy work or whatever. But I realized I didn't really want to stay there. I just wasn't really a fan of like, I don't know if I should like tell like say about the company specifically, but there were certain things that I just wasn't really a fan of like with how they ran their business. So I was like, I don't know if I want to stay here. I feel like I just want to start at a different place and have like a kind of like reset, or like I don't know, not reset, but I wanted to find a different spot.
Yeah.
And so one of the girls I worked with, she was like, "Hey, so I know you're not planning on staying here, and I know someone who is looking to hire." And he was asking me like if I had any recommendations, and she was like, "Honestly, the only person I could think of is you, because you're pretty good for just being out of school, and I feel like you're kind of up to par with like what he's looking for." And so she put me on Bearded Barber and got me in contact with Casey, or I think it was Phil, who actually ended up interviewing me for the position. And then yeah, just got to work.
What did he ask you?
Phil?
Yeah.
It was very streamlined. I just feel like I got it easy. Like usually you're supposed to do like some sort of like test cut, but he's like, "All right, just come in for an interview. Like we see your page, like we like your work. Just come in and like we'll talk to you and like see if it's a good fit." And then he just was kind of like, why do you want to be at the shop? Like, just like basic stuff. Like
Just had a conversation.
Yeah, it was really just a chill conversation. And he was like, "Yeah, man, like we're looking for, someone who can do XYZ and like has good timing and is, works with like, works well with people." And I was like, "Yeah, I feel like I do all that." So, yeah, it was pretty streamlined. I was lucky I didn't have to like do like a test cut, because they were like, "Oh yeah, you can cut hair. We can see that you can cut hair."
That's
so
cool.
I was like, cool.
Well, especially because like I feel like I don't know about Flight, but I feel like Phil doesn't really want anyone touching him but Jordan, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And
I
so
see
it's like,
that.
which one of them was going to be the guinea pig? Like, who's going to be like,
Yeah.
all right, we'll let this new guy, do his test shave on my beard.
Yeah. No.
Not on you, but anyone that was applying. Like, they'd
No,
be
I
like,
No, yeah.
But
They're
yeah,
like,
I
"Ah,
guess
we don't know."
barbers have to have their own portfolio in a sense,
Mhm.
aka Instagram.
Yeah, I was really heavy like during school, like trying to make content and like post pictures and show like my progress so that people could trust me. Because if you don't have anything to work off of, how is someone gonna know that you can do what they're asking,
Right.
And so like just in general for clientele, like I just posted everything and yeah, got like feedback and word of mouth, and yeah, it just kind of worked that way. So it's
Outside of your Instagram page, is there been anything that you've been doing to market yourself or to build your full-time schedule at Bearded Barber outside of easy leads like walk-ins and appointments?
Honestly, not a ton, and I've been working on that recently. I've been trying to create like ads for myself, but I need more content like being like shot like of me working so
Yeah.
that I could like do something like that. Um, so not a ton. I've been working on it though. This year is like one of my goals. Like I want to do like more ad campaigns and like just like marketing out like in general. Just be like, hey, like here's my shop. Like when I interact with a stranger, I might be like, I mean, it just depends like the circumstance or whatever. But I'll be like, oh, like I cut hair. Like if you want to come, like I work here or whatever. So it's worked out a lot of the time. Like if I like get into a conversation with someone, like they usually end up coming. So I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So.
Do you know, with any of your repeat clients, do you think you would be comfortable asking them like, hey, if I brought in a tripod and filmed your entire cut, would you mind?
I definitely have some that have already said that they
You should
would.
do
So,
that.
yeah, I definitely want to. I just have to like coordinate and like.
Buy the tripod.
So
Yeah.
one of my clients was like, "Oh, I have one. I'll just give it to you." I was like, "Oh, that'd be great."
There you
Like,
go.
you don't have to, but like it'd be great. I don't know. I meet a lot of cool, like willing people who are about it. So
Yeah.
I definitely would like to do that sometime soon. Um, so it's definitely on the books for 2024.
Nice.
So
What was I gonna ask you? Barber school, building your book of business. Let me look at my notes.
all good, all good. It's been such a cool like. This is my first year at the shop at Bearded Barber. Oh, sorry. I don't
No,
know.
you're fine. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just finished my first like official year at Bearded Barber, and I feel like it's been like epic. Like
Happy
it's just
anniversary.
been so cool. Thank you, thank you. I feel like it's been such like a good progression, and like I really got my times down, and like I've like streamlined like my process, and I feel like I've been like pretty good. And like I've had a lot of repeats, which is amazing. And I feel like I generally just like I don't know, the interactions I have for the most part are just like super nice. Like I don't know, I really feel like I've made friends working at the shop, and like obviously like they're like my clients, but I feel like it's become a little like more than that. Where like like I'll hang out with you, like I'll grab a drink with you, like I don't
Yeah.
know, it's super cool. We meet really nice people, so it's been cool.
I would have never anticipated making friends with Phil.
Yeah,
We've grabbed food a couple times after he's done with me.
Yeah.
If I'm his last client of the day, and yeah, he's a cool dude.
it's fun. Yeah, I love that. I just love that it can be more than just a haircut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it can be like a friendship, and even if that means like you just see me like every 2 weeks or every month, like I don't know, some of my clients end up being my friends, so it's been pretty cool. It's cool to do that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Just like get to know little things about people and like get to kind of like I don't know, just like I feel like it's an opportunity to see the humanity in people, just like little things about them or like little quirks. I don't know.
What's
I don't
been
know.
the most personal thing that someone's told you while you're cutting them?
Man, I mean a bunch of stuff really. Like personal how.
Like stuff that they like
Like they probably don't even tell their wives.
like they're
or something.
trans or
Yeah,
like
I
they're
mean-
or they're or it's things that they wouldn't tell their partners, or just stuff where you could tell, like you could tell when they told you, like, damn, like this client really trusts me.
I'm trying to think.
Or even stuff of just like if they're upset or
I mean, really all of the above. Honestly, I've had people be like, "Oh, like I struggle with like my mental health and stuff, and like it's been hard for me to like do X Y Z because like my mental health. I don't know, just a bunch of stuff. It's really everything. Like probably things I shouldn't know that people tell me that I'm like, oh man, but
what's one of those?
probably that somebody be cheating on their wife or something like that.
Someone told you that?
Yeah. And I'm
Wow.
like, dang, bro, you wild for that. That's all. That's literally all I say. I don't encourage that behavior, but I'm like, dang, bro, like you wild, but stay safe out there. You know what you know what I mean?
I see
Like,
I see your Riz.
I mean,
No, I don't say
I-
that. I don't think that's like
Say,
egging them on.
say what you want, bro. I don't know. I'm not
I
gonna.
don't know what I would. If
I mean, honestly, I just like, I don't know. Generally, I just hype people up, but like, if someone's telling me like, dang, like I'm cheating, I'm like, dang, bro, but be safe out there. I don't really. I'm not gonna like encourage that, but I'm just like, I don't know. Generally, when people tell me something, like I try to just like hype them up about it. But if it's something like that, I'm like, I don't know.
yeah,
I'm like, I don't know. You do you. That's really all I would say.
Yeah.
I'm like, you wild. That's about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But people tell me all kinds of stuff, like stuff about like their partners or like their relationship problems or like stuff with like themselves and like what they're going through or like, oh, I just lost like a family member or I just lost my job. Like I feel very vulnerable right now. Like, it's everything. So I kind of feel honored that people feel comfortable enough to even like share that stuff with me.
yeah.
So yeah, so you just start to get to know like random things about people's lives that like I like to kind of check in on like, oh, how are you doing with this, or like how's this going, like so one of my clients, like their wives got like really sick recently. I was like, dang, like how's she doing? Like I don't know, just like checking up on stuff.
Yeah.
And people are like, dang, how do you remember that? I'm like, of course I'm gonna remember. I don't know, that's just me. I like to pay attention to detail. So, and that's with everything. Like I don't know.
My old dentist back in California told me, I think I just asked him directly. I was like, your memory can't be that good. And he was like, well, I'll tell you my secret. He's like, as soon as I'm done with the client, I go to my office before seeing my next one, and I have just a Word document, and I type up every single thing we talk about, and then I read it when you come in for your next appointment. And it's like, holy,
Dang,
that's
crazy.
commitment. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's wild. I've made notes for some of my clients, but generally like I'll remember like as soon as like we start kind of talking, I start remembering like what we talked about last time, and then I'll kind of just like bring it up because I don't know it. I don't want it to ever seem like super transactional because obviously like it's like I'm doing a service on somebody, but I generally like want to know about the person.
Well,
That's my preference. Some people don't give a shit, but I like knowing about my clients. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's sort of the barbershop experience, though, too, is that you're getting a good conversation as well.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's why they choose to go back to you.
Yeah, because like I don't want the focus to be on me. I mean, like I don't even really like talking about myself that much. Like even coming on here is like, oh wow, like I don't know. I'm like
Yikes.
putting a lot of my stuff out there, which is whatever. But I like it. I like them to be the focus because they might not have a place where they can vent about whatever they got going on to whoever else. I'm kind of like a third party that like is not judging what you have to say, so people feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
At this point of your life, do you have any regrets?
No.
That's pretty
Honestly,
cool.
no. Honestly, no. I'm happy with everything that I've done so far, and like, I think I think I really have blossomed as a person, and by like having the courage to do what I had to do to be happy, you know. So I think I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. No regrets.
Well,
Not that I think. Not that I think. I don't think so.
It's funny you bring up happiness because I was going to ask you if let's say happiness is a recipe, and the perfect list of ingredients would just be pure bliss. Is there anything missing from your ingredients list that you'd like to see added on there in the near future?
Ingredients list, like for my happiness.
Yeah.
I don't know, like what's missing. I feel like generally like I'm having a pretty good time right now. So
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what's cool is there's this 16-year-old at my gym, and he I think he was born this way, but he only has one working eye. And I asked him one time, I was like, dude, are you happy? And he's like, yeah. I was like, are you sure? And he's like, why? He's like, I'm 16. Like, what could be going wrong? And I told him, I was like, well, you're a good example too. I'm like, not everyone's just in pure and I think I told him that. I was like, not all of your colleagues, you know, are the same. And he was like, well, listen. He's like, I have good parents, food in my stomach. I get to go to the gym. I like my girlfriend. Like, I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
And it was sort of cool to see, like, and again, like, not everyone's like that. You know, there's a lot of teens who have alcoholic parents or whatever the mess is. But I did like that here you have this one-eyed dude who could be like, well, life sucks. Like, I only have one eye. And he's just like, no, dude, like, what do I have to complain about?
Yeah, for real. It's just how you view it. It's just how you view, like, what you have.
Yeah.
And, like, I know it sounds cliche, but, like, being grateful for, like, the small things and, like, everything makes a big difference. It's, like, the lens you choose to view life. Because, like, you can choose to have a victim mindset or you can choose not to.
Right.
I feel like, why would you? I don't know. That's kind of lame. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you just got to accept what life hands you and just do your best. That's just how I view it. So, I don't know. I could be like, oh, like, I'm trans. Like, oh, like, I'm not going to make myself. Why should I victimize myself for that?
Right.
It's an uncommon experience, but, like, well, not, like, uncommon, but, like, obviously probably not the norm for most people. But, like, I'm not going to take that as, like, oh, like, I'm, you know, like, less fortunate or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, definitely not the case there.
I do wonder if we were to Google how many. Do you know how many trans people are in the U.S.?
I have no idea. But it's probably a small percent compared to everybody else. I just forgot my phone's dead.
It's not going to give it to us. Maybe I'll in the YouTube version, if I can find some data, I'll throw up a graphic while editing.
Nice.
So I have this delusional belief that every episode we record is made for somebody. So that's
I don't think that's delusional.
I don't think so. I don't think it's that crazy.
I honestly don't think it's delusional.
Maybe not delusional, but it's some word I like to use. So let's say that today someone hit play, and they were 13 or 12-year-old you was at, and they know that there's something different about them. Maybe it's not even that they're trans. They just are having a hard time fitting in.
Yeah.
They're angry. They're more angry, more depressed, more anxious than a 12 or 13-year-old should be. Or maybe they're trans. Let's get really specific. Let's say it's a boy or a girl who just doesn't feel like they comfortable in their own skin. So if you could look into that camera and either give them some advice or just you could sort of appear with them in their in their room for a few minutes and talk to them, what would you say to them?
Shoot, I mean that's a loaded question. I'm trying to think. Be along for the ride. I mean, it's not gonna be easy. If you're trans, this is like if you're trans, because I mean, really for anything.
Let's be
just
specific with it today. Let's say that there is a kid who might be thinking, "Am I trans?" What would you want to say to that per individual?
It's definitely gonna be a journey, and just love yourself through all of it. Like you're not gonna know everything of like how I don't know. It's such a broad thing to like answer. I just love yourself in every stage that you are as you move forward in your transition, and take time to figure out who you are, and stay. Be true to yourself. You don't have to do or be one way. Like there's not one way to be trans or to have a trans experience. Like it's different for everybody. And just be compassionate to yourself first and foremost, but just be true to yourself. Just be authentic. I mean, a lot of people are gonna. I mean, not maybe a lot, but like there's always adversity with like that kind of thing, is because it's like a lot of people don't understand where you're coming from, but like that shouldn't deter you from being your truest version, and like I don't know, man, just go for it. Be you. Honestly, it's tough, but it's tough at first. It's really tough at the beginning, but then once you really figure your stuff out, you're like, all right, cool, this is me, and like just own you. And don't be afraid to tell people who you are, because you'll really weed out the people who are not meant for you in your life, and you'll find the people who want to support you and be there with you and enjoy life with you. So, yeah, don't be afraid. Take that shit head on, honestly.
I like what you said about take time to figure out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Whether
it
that's
it doesn't have to be like super fast,
right, yeah. And with these little devices we all have with us now, and especially with YouTube, I love YouTube, man. You can Google whatever you want, so you can take the time to research trans. If heck, I mean, if you wanted to talk to a gay dude, that same email I said earlier, sit back with David at yahoo.com. If you're like, I think I might be gay and I need someone to talk with who's like a stranger, because sometimes it's a lot easier to talk with a stranger.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
I'll talk with you, so hit me up.
Yeah.
Or if you have someone that you do know that you feel safe, start the conversation. Google whatever you need to Google. Take the time. Like I really like what you said. Take the time to figure out who you are, because more than likely you're not going to step off a sidewalk and get hit by a bus tomorrow. So you got a couple years to sort of to figure it out.
For sure. I mean, it took me a minute to really figure out, okay, like what's, who do I want to be? Like, people think like being a man is just one, like, I don't know, like the stereotypical, like, what does being a man mean? And like like for me, it's like, okay, well, I wasn't born a man, so it's like, okay, like I'm learning how to, like, what does being a man mean to me, aside from like, physical attributes of what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, just like, it's a journey, but you got to be along for the ride and really just advocate for yourself.
Maybe even in thinking about your own story, maybe you should even just go to the store and try on some different outfits that you've normally never, and then just look at yourself in the mirror and be like, is this more me?
Yeah. I mean, trends or not, like finding yourself is hard in general, but I think just, stick with yourself, man. That's just my biggest advice, is just like, do you through and through. Honestly.
To the audience, as we slowly wrap things up here, Dakota said he didn't think that it's delusional of me to think that all of our episodes are meant for someone specific. And the way we're going to find that someone is actually through you. So Dakota and I did our jobs today by hosting this podcast and by coming on and telling a story. And now we need you to do your job and help us reach that boy or girl that needs to hear today's episode by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And on Apple Podcasts, I would love it if you leave something written and not necessarily a review. So if you wanted to write about your own experience of coming out of the closet, of being gay, of coming out as trans, or whatever it is, you could write about that. Or if you wanted to write a letter to someone who you hope would listen to this episode, you could be like, hey, your review could be, hey, potential listener, listen to Dakota's episode on whatever your takeaway from it was, and go hit play right now. So leave a written note that you think is appropriate, and I would love for you to help us grow by doing that. Before I ask you my last 1 or 2 questions, and thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having
and for
me.
being
This is
so
amazing.
courageous with your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anything else we should talk about?
I mean, I'm down for anything, dude. I could keep going, but I know you're on a time constraint.
Or anything. I guess maybe the better question was that I know you wanted to tell your story today, and I don't want you to walk away feeling like we left something out that should have been discussed.
I mean, there's so much though. Like, there's so much. I feel like I barely probably scratched the surface of like what it means to even go through a transition. But my main point. I think one thing I want to highlight is like my story is not common in the sense that like not everyone has the means, like the support, family wise, or like even the means to like medically transition and like that kind of stuff, and like have that opportunity. Like a lot of trans kids do not have that support, and that honestly, like I've been privileged, and I just want to put that out there. Like I have been privileged in like having all of that and all that backing behind it, because there is a high suicide rate amongst trans kids who are not supported, and that's really sad. And that's one reason why I want to come on here and kind of tell my stories, because like with the right support, like trans people can live healthy, happy lives, and be functioning members of society. And like I just want to put that out there, like if you have someone in your life that's struggling with like gender dysphoria, or like that they think they're trans or gay or whatever, just be supportive, and just have your arms open, man. Like have your heart open, like accept the people, because they could be going through a really shitty time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I could guarantee you, like I would not be here if I didn't have the support from my family 100%. Like it was going down that path, and it's like it didn't have to be, and now I'm like the most happiest I've ever been. So yeah I don't know.
Well, to shout out one other episode is that if you, to your point about if maybe you are afraid or even know that your family might not be as supportive or whatnot, go listen to Kyla Yurkowski's episode next. And the reason I say that is because she works here in Austin at a place called Austin Teen Therapy. And I don't know if we brought up LGBTQ issues specifically. We talked about a lot, but we did talk about suicide. We talked about self-harm. We gave not me. She gave a ton of advice to our teen listeners on how to just navigate being a teen in 2024.
Yes.
So if you would like an additional resource, if you're like, you have 70 episodes, David, where do I go next? Maybe Kyla would be a really good second episode for you to listen to, especially if you've been thinking about committing suicide, because in the 2021, the CDC did report that 12 million people contemplated committing suicide. That's a really high number.
Super.
And so I want you to know you're not alone. There's literally millions of people thinking the same thing you're thinking of, and me and Kyla tackled that issue pretty heavily in our episode. So
That's
it might be a tough listen, but it also might be a really good listen.
Oh,
So,
I think it's probably definitely worth it if you've ever had thoughts of that, like yourself, or I don't know, just someone you know or love. Like it's definitely important to bring awareness around it, because it was definitely something that like I also struggled with, and now I don't, because I actually love myself and have the support that I needed. So it's made a big difference. So definitely check that episode out.
Kyla.
I'm sure that there's some really good stuff in there. So shout out to them for that. Super cool. Okay, you're good.
We started a new tradition on this podcast in 2024 that I really like.
Let's go.
And it's that I take questions that I like from other podcasts and ask them of my guests to see how you would answer them.
Okay.
So the question for you is, it's a little dark.
You're
but
good.
let's say as soon as this podcast is over, you are going to die. You can look into the camera and say one more thing. what is the last thing you would say?
Love everybody, bro. Show everyone love. That's all. That's what it's about. No matter who you are. Love is the answer. It sounds cliche, but it's true, bro. It's true. Just accept people, man.
It's what we went back to those two guys I was talking about earlier. I do think the three of us formed a bond quicker than the average humans come together. But we also ate dinner and then recorded a podcast. Like, that's a pretty quick way to form a friendship. But
no, that's cool.
But those two guys, man, what I loved about them is they're nothing but love. They don't have any time in their day for hate, jealousy, envy. You know, they're just their judgment.
Yeah.
You know, they just love. Every person they meet, it's an opportunity for them to form a new friendship. And what I noticed is that they were incredibly grateful for everyone they met while they were in town.
That's how I feel. Like like going through life and meeting all these people, it's like, man, just show love, dude. Like, why judge? Like, I'm not in a place to judge. People can judge me and be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, like, you know, or whatever. You shouldn't be trans or blah blah blah. And it's like, I'm like, all right, whatever, bro. like. Just show people unconditional love, dude. That's what it's about. You never know what someone's going through. And like, it sounds super cliche, but that's something that I just try to live by is like, keep your heart open to literally everyone. And like, you'll receive that energy back like tenfold. Doesn't matter who or what you are. Like, just, be humble, love people. That's really it. If it was the last thing I had to say, it's just that.
Yeah.
Just love thy neighbor type shit.
Love thy neighbor.
You know, like, it's true though. I don't know. That's just how I like to live go about my life. It's like, you never know what the next human's going through, but doesn't mean you have to be an asshole.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right on.
That's all I got for that.
All right, Dakota. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate your request to come back on and do a solo episode. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And to
Thanks
the
for
audience,
having me.
yeah, man, anytime.
It was awesome.
To y'all, love y'all. Stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you next Saturday for another episode on DSNSB.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.